input my digital information through my digital input here. Digital out, digital in. So I'll put this in. This is my digital in source. This is coming from my CD player. Now you can also hook up an input source here for your right and your left mono, and this can also be a mic input. And here we use these 1/4-inch cables. See that? I have a foot switch here. I have my right, and of course my left. Make sure the cables are firmly in. Now here I have my output, which is my mono left and my right. But these two here give me my stereo outputs, which go to my playback system. You can also plug your headset in, the 1/4-inch cable, which goes right here. Make sure it's firmly in place. This way, when you play back on your headset, you're good to go. Now here, we have the front of our Roland Sp606. Here on our left-hand side of the machine, we have our D-beam section. Here we can trigger a particular pad. It's a trigger. We pass the hand over, and it triggers the pad that we assign for the D-beam to trigger. We also go to synth, and we can assign the synth and the synth setting to be triggered by the D-beam. When our hand passes over, we actually trigger it. We also have filter here. We can link filter to any sound coming into our Sp606. We also have V-Link, which I'll explain later on. And here we have our MFX1. Here we have effects. We can press here with the 45 different effects that we can use on our Sp606. That's an FX1. There's a second effects bank, which is the MFX2. We have the same 45 different effects that we can use. So we use a maximum of 2 different effects internally for any pad group we like to set these effects for. We also have knob assignment. We can assign these knobs to particular parameters. It's control knob 1, control knob 2, and control knob 3. Below our control knobs and our knob assignment, we have our sequencer section. Now here we can set up our song, which will contain several patterns. Here we're in pattern mode. You can play one pattern. You can also select any one of these tracks within that pattern and turn off or on. We can go back to here. Put them on to that. And over here's the metronome right now. And see they're blinking. So I can go back to on. That's not blinking. That one's on. How we control the audio is right here. We can control the audio level of our output of our Sp606 right here. This other knob above that is for the audio input. And this is for our analog input in the front. Not the digital, but the analog input directly in the front, rather in the back of our Sp606. Next we'll have this return to the top or undo button. This is our rewind, our fast forward to the next part of our sequence. And here we have stop, of course. We have play, and we have record. Start recording on that particular sequence. Then we have mastering effects also. We have control over the output sound. We can add some sort of compression to get a stronger feel from the output of our Sp606. With a menu tab, we can tap here and go to our menu that's in the Sp606. We also have our F keys. We have F1, F2, and F3, which get us to several different pages to help us edit our data and parameters in our Sp606. With a BPM button, we press the BPM button and we can change the beats per minute. Make it faster or slower. Now below that, we have our control section. We have our internal control, where we can press play and control the machine itself, whether it's a song or a pattern. We're playing back a sample by hitting the pads. And we have the external control, where the machine is controlled by a source. Second presses here, nothing will happen. It's waiting to receive information from another MIDI instrument to tell it, look, let's go. We're going to start from here and follow me. Next, we have our sampling button right here. We'll press this button when we're in sampling mode to get ready to take a sample in to our Sp606. We have our clipboard, where we can take a particular sample, save it on a clipboard, and place it anywhere on our 16 pads in any pad bank. And we have, of course, the pad bank button. Here in our pad bank button, we can select any pad bank we like, whether protected or unprotected. Now, a very important key is our function key. With the function key, it allows us to access other parameters that you may see below each one of these pads, or some of these pads. There are no parameters below 4, 7, and 8, but you can see we have parameters here in the sample parameter under 13. We would press the function key, press 13, and a new page will appear here. Or we can press function and press pad, utility, and we'll see the utilities for the pad. Control velocity, sensitivity. So the function keys allow us to do many other things within our Sp606. It helps us to get around the machine and get into other functions to edit data and parameters for samples, for pads, for our effects, whether MFX1 or MFX2, and mastering. Here's our input. We can play a CD, for example, and we can hear the input of it while we're hearing the track, or input of it when we're actually checking the input of an audio signal coming in. We plan to sample something. And it's a hold button. We also have here our exit. See, we're in a parameter, we got something going on, we like what's happening. Okay, we're going to leave this external. Let's say we're going to go back to function. Here we're going to go to sample parameter function. We set our function in, and then it's okay, we're through. We'll exit that function. We're done. We can also go to parameter edit, function. We find what we want to get, and we can enter the information. We'll enter that. We'll say yes, we want to keep that, and we will enter that data in. We'll press enter first, then we'll press exit. And the machine will say now processing, it will process, and we're right back where we started from. And we also have our cursor control center, which is right here. We can move the cursor up and down. Right there, see that? We move it up, down, left, and right. Or we can decrease the value or increase the value of that particular parameter for that section we're in on our Sp606. And we can also change the value with our data wheel. Well, look, it's a great basic understanding. Let's get started and show you what this thing can do. Now, it's important to note when you turn off your Sp606, make sure you hold the function button down and then press our exit or shutdown button. You'll see this page right here. Now, right as you can see here, it says, shut down now, are you sure? Well, we'll press execute. And now we're ready to shut down. We can now turn the machine off safely without causing any problems to happen. This is very important. Make sure when you do shut down, you follow this procedure. Otherwise, you could damage the data in your machine. Well, now we're ready. Let's power it up. And let's start to make a beat up first, so you can see how you can actually make a pattern up on our Sp606. Now, before I start recording a pattern in, I want to set up my system for the right way I want to record. So I'll press Menu first, and I have System. So you can see that it says press Enter. I'll press Enter, and now in my System parameters, I want to make sure my screen view, which is LCD contrast, is good. My sample grade is good. I'm going to use a standard in this case. I might use a long if I put in a compact flash card, but in this case, I'm using standard, whatever comes with the machine. Below that, we have our metronome mode. It's a little click sound that you hear when you press record and play. Now, I'll go back to pressing play. I'll press stop here. I'll press exit. It's going to keep what it has there, and I'll press play. I think going on with the sequence. See that? I'll press record, and I'll press play. Now we get this little click. That tick, 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 tick. That's our metronome. That gives us a pace, sort of a timing control to let us know what the tempo is and how to play the beat to this click. I'll press stop now. I'll press menu, and I'll press enter for a system. Now in this case, I only want to hear that metronome sound only when I record that click. So when I play, I won't hear it. Next, I can control the level of it. A max being 127 and the lowest volume being 0. I prefer to be somewhere between there. I'd say maybe around 65 is good for me. Now also, below that, we have writable. This is our preloaded patterns. I can write over those patterns. I'm not trying to protect those patterns. In the dial, we can protect them, or we can make them writable. We can write over them. Got that? Writable. Well, I'm set now. I'm ready to start making the sequence up. Let's do that. Okay, let's make a pattern up. Well, we've got everything set up. Now we can make a pattern. Now to start my pattern, I'll press the INT button. Well, now I'm ready to record. First thing I'll do is I'll press this record button. Now you see here, as you can probably see on your machine, we have the RealTime Record that's blinking. We're going to use RealTime Recorder right now. So I'll press F1. And once I press F1, you can hear that metronome clicking. Now I have it set for, as you can see in the count in, my count is set up for one measure. I'll hear this clicks go by like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're ready to go. I'll press play here. I'll press stop. I'll press play. As you can see, the metronome's not playing anymore. A little click in the background. That sounds pretty good, but there's one problem. It's not quantized properly. It's not really steady with the beat. Here's how we can solve that problem. Now, first thing I'll do is I'll press my record button again. Then It says real time is blinking right here. I'll press F1. The metronome is going to trigger automatically, letting us know this is the tempo that we've already set up and ready to go. Now to fix the quantized value, to make sure it's going to be really in sync, I have to go back to my quantized resolution. And it's right over here. That's my quantized resolution right there. I'll move the cursor down, and I can turn it on to 30-second notes, 24ths. In this case, I want to use 16th notes for the quantized value of the rhythm I'm going to play in my Sp606. Next, I'll press my play button, or I can press start right here, which is F3. I'll start recording my beat once I start. Let's do that. I'll press record, F1, my metronome's running in time. Now, I'll press the start button here, F3, 2, 3, 4. That sounds better. Now sometimes you want to add something to a track. I mean, that's kick and snare. So I want to add more to it. Well, I want to go to a new track. So stop here. And I get ready to record to a new track. Okay, next, I want to add a hi-hat to this sequence. I'll press here. I'm in pattern mode, as you can see. I'll press. Then I'll make sure we're in real time. 2, 3, 4. You can hear the hi-hat is much more steadier after I stop playing it. That's because the quantized value I've selected will quantize the hi-hat to the nearest note value, making sure it's steady and it's on time. I'll press stop and I'll press play. No more metronome set. And I'll press stop. Now next, I might want to add something else. Woo! Bring the beat! We'll try that. We'll go to pattern again. Right here in real time. I'll press stop. I'll press stop. Well, we got our pattern playing right here. I'll press play. Start from the top. Start from the top right here. See that? Top. Stop it. It'll play somewhere left off at. Go to the top. Okay, good. Well, you know, I think I want to erase some patterns. I want to erase the whole thing, maybe add something else. Just erase one pattern. What I can do, I can go to press record here. F1. And now, I zoom in here. Right here we have erase. I'll press this for erase. And now erase appears right there. It appears right there. I can pick any palette I want to erase and erase it. And these pads light up, as you can see. Makes it so much easier. I know this pattern is the one I want to erase. I'll hold this down. See? Little cut, little scratch, DJ cut is gone. And one's left. See, I didn't hold down long enough. Make sure you hold it down long to get rid of that pattern. Now I should be getting rid of it right here. Now that pattern's missing. So I erased it from the entire track. Now, it said now processing. So I'll play the track from the top. There's no more DJ cuts. Now what we can do, if you want to bring it back, we can press function, undo. It'll undo what we just did. Play from the start. And then right back in there again. See? So we can compare what's happening. We can also redo what we just did. Play from the start again. And now they're missing. See that? So the capability of actually playing something, erasing it, maybe listening back to how it sounds with it or without it. That's a great function. It'll help you to improve your tracks. Now, you can also copy a pattern. So that's one pattern right here. I keep playing over and over. I'll press stop, play it from the top again. Now, I can press function. I'll press edit first. I'm going to press function. I have the ability to not just delete, but also to copy. I can copy this pattern. I'll select I want to copy it to pattern 45. I'll execute. And I want to, record over that pattern. I can go back again and press exit. And I'll press exit again. I'll go to edit, function. I want to copy that pattern again. I want to copy it to 46. Execute. Pattern completed. Go back up to here. I may want to go to copy pattern 7 and do it. Execute. See that? I can just keep copying patterns to where I think I want to copy them to. Execute. Got a lot of patterns now. Next, I'll take the patterns and make a little song out of them. You can go back to micro and get rid of it. Okay, I can make up a pattern. I'll press RealTime, start. Got a pattern. I don't like it. I may want to get rid of it. Here's how we do it. First, we're going to press edit. F2. See that? Now, next I'll press function. See that? I can press delete as F1. It says there, pattern 50, PTN 050, pattern 50, delete. I can cancel or execute. I'll press F3, I'll execute the function. There we go. Pattern deleted. I'll go back to, and you'll see here, it says empty. That's how we delete our pattern. We delete our pattern. Another unique thing about actually using quantized value with any sequencer, particularly with this Sp606, is to understand how the quantized function works. We'll press menu, and we're in system, and next I'll press enter. Now here, of course, we have our clock, we know our metronome's running properly, we're good to go. Make sure that's happening first. Then while in pattern, we can press edit. We make sure we have the measure selected, of course, and the right tempo, which is always the best way to go. Once you got the right values, next we'll press record, the record button. Once I press the record button, we get this real time. Now right here, I can set my 16th notes, or any notes for any value I want to set it for. Here's 32nd notes, 24th, 16th, and 12ths. I'd say I'll do this 12. Let's go to start. See that? It didn't quantize properly because I'm not playing the right value for that particular quantize function. It's important for you to realize this, that you've got to understand how to use the quantize properly. So, in this case, I can erase that pattern, of course. I can go back to edit. I'll go back to function, and I'll press F1. I want to delete, press execute, and it's deleted. Always make sure that once we press our record button, which is right here, and we press the real time, it's got our quantize value. Make sure set the right quantize value. Move the cursor down here. We'll move it a little bit more, you can see it better. And now I can change my quantize value. 16ths or 8th notes, 1/6 or quarter notes. Now in this case, I'll use 16ths. Listen back. See, you played it back differently than what I actually played into it. You saw that? That's because the quantized value is not proper for what I played. I can go back again. I'll press edit. I'll press function. I'll press delete. Delete that single pattern. It's gone. Now, I'll go back here to the regular empty pattern. I'll press that, and I'll press this here. And you've got to experiment and find out what the patterns are so you get an understanding of how to play that particular pattern you want to play. In this case, I'll play this as 24th notes, which is like a 16th note triplet. I'll press start. See that? It gave a swing feel to it. Now I'll do that again so you understand it properly. Of course, I'll go back here again. I'll press the edit, the function, I'll press the delete, and execute. Great. I'll go back to exit that, press here, here, and start. See that? It played back what I played. It's important. That's a little swing feel that we used to use in the old days, like with Teddy Riley type style. So, it's important to understand how to use your quantized value on your Sp606. It'll help you to improve your tracks. Now we can also, we'll play back the pattern right now. We can also micro edit. We can select any part of the pattern we want to get rid of. I'll press stop, and here I'll press F2. I press stop again. We'll go back here to our pattern, and we can edit this pattern. And we go to micro. After pressing F2, we press micro. Now here in micro, let me zoom in a little bit here. As you can probably see on your machine, we have micro right there. We can move our cursor buttons up and down, and we can access every little sound in there. See that? Go back a little bit more here, and you can see me hitting the cursor button. See this? Cursor button. So we can pick something we want to erase. We'll say, well, look, I want to erase that first thing. What is that? That's a hi-hat. Let's erase that. Press F2. That's erased. Next one, that's the bass drum's erased. Watch this. I can erase everything in the entire pattern. It's all gone. See that? We can erase our entire pattern, or we can erase one particular sound in that pattern using our micro erase. Now once that's done, we can press enter, exit, processing we're out of it. We'll press play. Nothing's there, it's empty. The sequence is blank. So we can edit our data, either erasing it in real time, we can go back to micro and get rid of it. Well, next, I want to start sampling. I want to sample something up, make a little beat along with this sample. Now check this out. I want to sample. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press function, and I'll press input source. And you'll see here, we've got an input source there. See the screen right there? That's our screen for our sampling. Now as you can see, we have line in, as you can see right there. Get my pointer, that's the line in. I've got input send selected, none of, so I want a dry sound. I'm not trying to add any effect, like you can add like an MFX effect right there on top of it. See that? I don't want that. I don't want the MFX in there. Got a line in. I can use digital. Now in digital, as you saw before earlier, I put that cable in my digital input. I'm going to use digital from my actual CD source. Turn my CD on. And I'm going to go here and try to get this thing to do a digital output for me. Input actually into my Sp606. Let's set that up right now. And before you start recording into your Sp606, make sure your system's down here. You lower the level here. We don't want to blow any speakers in. So lower these levels here, lower this down. Make sure you got a good signal going in. Now, I'll press play on my CD player. And we can see the audio levels go. See that? The audio levels went up. See that? They're going up there, right there. See that? That's pretty cool. So we're setting ourselves up to get this input into our Sp606. Now we can adjust the digital level right here. You just start bringing it all the way down now. As the sounds come in, they don't get any higher than right about there. See that? That's my input source. I'll press input source, and now we'll hear them. Turn this off, I don't hear anything at all. Now the sounds are going in now. You see the sounds are going through there, see that? Put this on, and we've got our input source. We'll turn our level up here. Get a little louder. It's one of our Sample Kings loop beat CDs. Next, I'll press pause on my CD player. I think I'm about ready. That looks pretty good. Might go to 80 actually. And I'll set myself up to start recording a sample. Okay, now I've got my level set up, I've got my digital input, and I've got my digital in level, which is at 80 right there. Right over there is at 80, so we know that already. We'll press play on our little CD player, got sound there. Now I'll press sampling. See there right there? Of course, the CD player. Sampling is blinking. So now I'll press F1, which corresponds to that. Let's zoom in so you can see this real carefully. Like, see that? I'll press F1, and there we go. I need to select the pad now. I want to select the bank first. Let's go to banks. See? We can select any bank of sounds we'd like to when recording a sequence, or we want to try to find a place to store our sample. So, I'll move my cursor down. I want to store it right here in 7. I'll pick the pad I want to store it on. Let's pick a pad out. Let's pick the one pad. See that they're all blinking. Now I got that one pad I'm storing it at, which is that pad 1. You got that? That's important now. Once we press our pad, we got the right pad we want to store our sample on. You'll see this window right here. That's it right there. And we have the ability, see, pad 1. You can go right here and you can make it a mono left and right, or just a mono sample, or stereo. I'll make it stereo. We can use auto trigger too. That means the minute the sound comes on, it'll start sampling. I don't want that. I'll turn my CD player back on. Turn my sound back in. And now we see the VU meters right here on the side. See that? A little peak point right there on the top. See that on the top peak point? We don't want to have it do any of that. So now I pick a sample I want to use. Pick it up a little bit. That's the sample I want to use. So I'm seeing how my level is. I've got like 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. I press my start button, I can start sampling. Now I start sampling. Stop. I'll turn off my player. Now you'll see where the sample's at. When I put it on pad 1, see, it's right there. Now you just see I can touch it soft or hit it hard. It comes to the same level. Now the reason why it's doing that, I have set up my pad utility. That's how you do that. We go to function, we go to pad utility right here. I'll zoom in, of course, so you can see what I'm doing. And here in pad utility, I have set the pad velocity to 127. That's the maximum velocity. That means every time I hit that pad, it's always going to be that loud. If I lower this, see the sound gets softer? I play it, turn it way up, hit the pad. I have my setting for my pad sensitivity set to medium. I can touch it hard or soft, it's still going to play that loud, that sample. That's very important. Okay? So now, exit this, and we're going to go back to our sample again. Now, samples we know is right here. See, put my hand down, but it takes a while for the sound to come through. See that? Because I got a little bit of sound in front of the sample that I really don't need. I got some sound at the end of it I don't need. I'm going to edit the sample up to get the exact space I want. An exact sound right there. Now, I want to start to edit my sample up. Here's how it works. I'll hit the sample. That's the one I want to use. I'll press function, and the next bit I kept will be 14. And this window right here will come up. Let's look at this window right here. See this window? This is our edit sample window. Now right here, we've got start, we've got end, we've got truncate. Now start means the start of the actual sample, end the end of the sample. We'll press start, and we'll start the sample. You can see already we're at the start right there. See that? Now I can turn my data wheel, and then I'll get to the edge of the sample. Turn my data wheel a little bit like this. Oop, sample just went by. See that? Turn it back again. Here's my sample coming up. What we can do too, we can increase the size. I press the let's increase the bigger size of the sample waveform. I can make it small or bigger. See that? I'll move my cursor wheel slowly. I don't want to get too close to it. See that? And we're getting close enough to the sample we want the beginning. See that? Now I'm hitting the pad now. I'm hitting exactly on top of that sample. So we want to edit our sample so we get the very proper beginning, the exact point where the beat starts at. Now we can actually stretch it out some more and move this cursor dial back a little bit more. See that? I stretch it out. See how I stretch it out? I can, you know, I can shrink it back in again, and it looks like it's so close to it, I can't tell where it's at. But if I shrink it out some more and stretch it out some more, I can get to see the exact beginning of this sample and move my cursor exactly where I think it should be at, which is right there on the edge of the sample. I can widen it up some more. See that? Wow, look at that. You can see the beginning of this sample, right? See the beginning? That piece there is not really a sound, but right there is where it starts at. It's about right there. I'll say right here. And you can see that. You can see how you can widen that sample up and get a good view of it. Using the cursor buttons up and down, and we can make it thin. You can't really see it there, but here we're going to widen it up, and we'll see what's go right this way, and then squash it down a little bit, and we'll see where at the beginning of that sample. Let's get the end now. We'll press F2, and we'll bring the cursor in from the back. That's it, bring it from the back. That's too close, can't tell much. Oh, there we go. Stretch it out a little bit more. We can see. Move our cursor to the very end of this sample, so we know where we're going to be at. That's the end right about there, I think. And now I'll press the sample. That's the end of that sample. I like that. Now, when I get the right size of the sample you want, let's get this back in again. Let's see the whole sample waveform. Now I'll shrink it down some more, and I can see all those peaks, the top end and the peak. I'm going to start again. Here's the start point. And we can see our sample. We can now truncate our sample. What truncation does is it cuts our sample up to the right size. Now what happens here with our sample, this could be our sample right here. I can say, well, I don't want this piece, and I don't want that piece. That's the piece I want for my sample. Well, that's what we do. And truncation cuts off the pieces we don't want, and we keep what we got. So I got my end, got my start. Well, now I'll press truncate, which is F3. It says here, truncate, are you sure? I'm positive. I'll press execute, now processing. And next, we'll see that truncation has been completed. I can press a sample right here. And I actually have the right sample size. Now, sometimes when I'm using a sample, I want to make the sample fit a particular tempo, or BPMs, what you call time compression. I want to keep the same pitch, just want to slow it down, you know what I mean? So, here's how you do it. With our Sp606, we press function, we'll press 15 there, and now we have this BPM Sync. Now I'll press, I want that pad one, you know what I mean? So, I'm going to go here, I'm going to type. It can be fixed or a sequence, which means always. Now you can see here, we're moving closer, you can see this really well. This is important to understand. Now right here, we can have it off. This means I'll hit the pad, and I'm going to have the same tempo that it was originally at. I can also go back here and go to always. See that? And now we're at always. So it'll always be the sequence tempo. Or I can select a specific fixed tempo, and this sample will play at that particular tempo. And I'll make sure I fix it that way to do it. But I don't want that. I want to make sure it's flexible. So I can just change it and it fits what I want it to fit. I'll press enter. And now it's processing. Okay, got my sample in here, of course. And now I'll hit it. See that? Wait a minute. I gotta hold it down. I don't want to hold it down. I want to play it and let it play out. I want to work here. Let's fix that. We're going to press function, and we're going to press pad 13. And that's our sample parameters. As you can see here from this window, we got our parameters right there. And the real deal here is that we got our trigger mode. See that? It's a trigger mode set to gate. We don't want that. we want to set it to shot. This way I hit it one time, it plays right through. We're going to press. There you go. That's what I want. That's one time. Right through. Now I can go to like alternate. See that? I can hit it, it plays. I can hit it, it stops. Hit it, it plays. Hit it, it stops. That's kind of cool. But I don't want to use that. I'm wasting my time for this particular sound I'm using and for the way I want to use it. I can also go down here to my assign. Let me show you this one right here. And this is the assign. See the assign right there? That says mono. I turn my data wheel. Or, there you go, my increase or decrease. And watch this. It says poly. Now, move this back like this. Multiple times. See that? Kind of funky, right? I don't need all that though, not for this particular track. I just want hit it one time and I got it going on. But you can use it any way you want to use it because the Sp606 makes it that easy for you to flip that sample any way you want. Now we can also use a microphone. We're set it up for us. I'll go back to the main screen actually, see how I did this. And I'm going to set up a microphone. I've got a microphone right here. And I plugged it in right here in the back into the mic inline. Oops, that's going on here, the beam. Cut that off. And I've got it plugged in right there. You can record some vocals into this thing. It's really cool. So I can go back here, let's say for example, and I've got this microphone going on. I'll press function, source input right there. And now I can turn my level up right over here. And you can see right here it says microphone. And we'll pull it down a little closer. See it says microphone right there? That's really cool. See? And now I'm talking on the mic and you can hear it back. Now when we're ready to record, we can go to sample. And we'll press sampling right there. And we'll select the track to record it to. Let's go a bank. Let's pick a new bank. Let's pick a bank number 7. Okay? I'll select that one right there to record to. That sounds good to me. And so, I'm going to record right there. That pad bank's protected. See that? Force protected. See that? Can't do that. So the bank again. And we're going to select 6. Select it. Now it's 6. I'll pick that one. Now we're ready to record there. See that? See my level going right there along with it? That's cool. We got a level going on right there with the track. So now I can actually go, okay, let me start sampling maybe. We think so. Let me do audio trigger action. Auto trigger. Go back to here. Yep, and now we're going to sample from the Sample King himself, the DOC. Now I'll press stop. And we got the sample. Well, we hope we do. We got to go back to pattern, make sure we got it right. And so I put it here on pad 8. Yep, and now we're going to sample from the Sample King himself. Yep, and now we're going to sample from the Sample King himself. So we can actually do it right here with a microphone directly into our Sp606. And we can place that, of course, anywhere we want to do in our pattern. Yep, and now we're going to sample from the Sample King himself. See that? And we'll take that pattern, stick it into our sequence, or take that actual sample, stick it into our pattern, and we're good to go.